What happened to Ben? Ross's son Ben was a recurring presence in the early seasons, but by the time Emma is born, he's almost completely forgotten. The show never explains why Ross rarely mentions him, nor why Ben never meets his half-sister. It's especially odd since Ross is portrayed as a devoted father. He fights for custody and often rearranges his schedule to see Ben in earlier seasons. Yet suddenly, his parenting storyline disappears without a trace.
Whee! Oh! Whee!
Many fans believe the writers phased Ben out to simplify Ross's later romantic storylines with Rachel and focus on Emma's birth. But there's no logical reason why Ross would seemingly stop seeing his first child. This unexplained gap raises bigger questions about continuity, and whether Ross's character was rewritten to fit new plot directions rather than stay true to his earlier, more consistent role as a dad.
If you're okay with the Barbie thing, so am I. Give Daddy the Barbie. Give me the Barbie, okay?
Why didn't Phoebe keep her birth mother in her life? After finally meeting her biological mother, Phoebe forms a warm connection, only for the relationship to vanish from the show almost immediately afterward. There's no mention of why they stopped seeing each other. For a character who spent years searching for her family and identity, this lack of follow-up feels incomplete.
Come here, come here. Mrs. Buffet? Sorry about what I said.
Phoebe even chooses her mother's name for her surrogate babies, suggesting a strong emotional bond that the writers never build on. It's possible the decision was logistical. Balancing Phoebe's quirky independence with her new domestic ties might have disrupted her established persona. But narratively, it leaves her journey toward family reconciliation unresolved. Fans often interpret this as a missed opportunity. Phoebe's arc could have evolved into one of emotional stability, showing her breaking a cycle of abandonment. Instead, her search for connection quietly ends without explanation.
No! Oh, it's me! I didn't want to make any noise! Then don't break in!
How could they afford those apartments? One of the most iconic parts of Friends is Monica's giant purple apartment, and one of its biggest mysteries is how anyone in their 20s could afford it in Manhattan. The show briefly explains that Monica has a rent-controlled lease inherited from her grandmother, but even then, the apartment's size and location stretch believability. Chandler's place across the hall is also far too nice for his salary as a data processor. Realistically, both spaces would cost thousands per month. Yet we rarely see the characters facing financial struggles, except in one episode where they discuss income differences. This inconsistency has become part of the show's legend. The fantasy Manhattan idea where money issues disappear as soon as the plot demands. It's an unanswered question that fans still debate decades later.
Wow, look at these prices. Yeah, these are pretty cha-ching.
Oh, what are these, like famous chickens?
Did Rachel ever return to work in Paris? In the final episode, Rachel chooses to stay in New York with Ross instead of taking her dream job in Paris. But the show never clarifies what happens next. Does she get another opportunity or give up her career entirely? Throughout the series, Rachel's growth is tied to her independence and professional ambition. Her Paris job represents the peak of that journey, the reward for years of effort. So her decision to stay raises questions about whether she sacrifices her goals for romance. While the finale gives emotional closure to Ross and Rachel's story, it avoids the practical follow-up. We never see how Rachel balances motherhood, career, and love, a key part of her character development. Fans still debate whether her choice was empowering or regressive. Without seeing her next steps, the ending feels emotionally satisfying, but narratively unfinished. What happened to Carol and Susan? Carol and Susan play a significant role early in Friends, co-parenting Ben with Ross and shaping several storylines, but after season 8, they vanish completely without any explanation. Considering their ongoing role in Ben's life, their disappearance creates a glaring continuity gap. Even events like Ross's later weddings or Emma's birth omit them entirely, which seems strange given their history. Behind the scenes, this likely came down to cast reshuffling and storyline streamlining. Still, there's no closure. They simply stop existing. Their absence also affects Ben's disappearance from the narrative. Without Carol and Susan, the show loses its entire secondary parenting thread, leaving a once prominent dynamic unresolved.
All right, look, penis schmenis. Okay, we're all people.
Why did Joey never find real success? Joey's acting career fluctuates wildly, from starring roles on Days of Our Lives to desperate auditions and bizarre gigs. But the show never explains why he never finds steady success, despite clear talent and experience. His failures are mostly used for humor, but there's an underlying sadness that's never addressed. He's dedicated, hardworking, and passionate about acting, yet perpetually stuck. The spin-off Joey attempted to continue his journey, but didn't provide much closure. Fans are left wondering whether he ever truly achieved his dreams, or remained trapped in a cycle of temporary highs and crushing disappointments. The lack of resolution contrasts with how every other character finds a clear path. Joey's story ends where it began, still hopeful, still chasing fame, but without a defined future.
Okay. You hide my clothes, I'm gonna do the exact opposite to you.
What are you gonna show me my clothes?
Hey, opposite is opposite.
What happens to Gunther after Rachel leaves Central Perk? Gunther's unrequited love for Rachel is one of Friends' longest-running subplots. When Rachel leaves Central Perk and later decides to move to Paris, Gunther confesses his feelings, and she kindly turns him down. But after that emotional moment, he's never seen or mentioned again. Considering how loyal he was to both Rachel and the group, it's strange that no one follows up on what happens to him. Does he still work at Central Perk? Does he move on or remain the lonely barista in love with a memory? The show leaves it open-ended, almost as if his entire existence ended with that confession. Fans have speculated everything from Gunther inheriting the cafe to leaving New York entirely. But officially, his story just fades out. A strangely abrupt end for such a consistent background character.
Oh, thanks for the coffee. Or, bedankt voor de koffie, Gunther.
Je spreekt Nederlands. Dat is te gek. Heb je familie daar?
Why didn't we see more of Phoebe's triplets? Phoebe gives birth to her brother's triplets in season 5, one of the show's most heartfelt arcs. But after the birth, the babies essentially vanish from the storyline. We never see Phoebe visiting them or maintaining a relationship with Frank Jr. It's odd, given how emotionally invested she was in their arrival. Writers likely chose to move Phoebe's focus back to her personal life with Mike, but the lack of mention leaves her surrogacy story incomplete. It's as if one of the show's biggest sacrifices, carrying triplets for her brother, had no lasting impact. For a character defined by emotional empathy and loyalty, this gap feels particularly jarring. Fans often rank this as one of the show's biggest unanswered family mysteries.
Everyone said labor was the hardest thing I'd ever have to do, but they were wrong. This is.
How did they afford so much free time? Another mystery fans still discuss is how the group had so much time to spend at Central Perk. Between jobs, relationships, and major life changes, it's unclear how they maintained their schedule. Rachel and Monica work demanding jobs Ross teaches, and Chandler works corporate hours. Yet somehow, all 6 are always available for long weekday chats. The show never addresses how they balance that with real-world commitments. While it's clearly a sitcom exaggeration, the sheer frequency of their coffee shop scenes defies logic. Even their apartments seem more like shared hubs than realistic living spaces. Fans joke that Central Perk must be operating on sitcom time, where hours stretch and responsibilities disappear. Another detail that makes Friends feel both relatable and totally unrealistic at once.
I want somebody. You know, I want a man.
What's next for the group? The finale gives each character closure, but only partially. We know Monica and Chandler move to the suburbs with their twins, Ross and Rachel reunite, and Phoebe is happily married. But what happens next is left to imagination. Will the group stay close? Will they drift apart as family life and distance take over? The series leaves their friendship frozen in a perfect moment, but real life rarely works that way. It's especially unclear what happens to Joey. His spin-off offers some hints, but not definitive closure within the main series. The final shot, the group leaving their keys behind, feels symbolic, but also uncertain. This open ending is fitting, but also haunting. After 10 years of shared laughter and heartbreak, we never truly learn what becomes of their bond, leaving fans with a lingering sense of curiosity.